Good day. My name is James Little, and my company is Mass Spec Interpretation Services. Wiley has recently added new Mass Spec capabilities to their existing KnowItAll software package. Their package is now a vendor-neutral data processing solution for spectral analyses using Mass Spec in addition to other techniques such as NMR, infrared, Raman, etc. Today, I will be presenting a training video entitled Interchanging Structures Between KnowItAll and Nist Search and Basics on Using MS Interpreter. The latter topic, Mass Spec Interpreter, is somewhat of a more advanced topic. This program correlates ions in a user's EI mass spectrum to substructural elements of the associated structure and thus just interprets the spectrum. A series of other training videos and handouts for KnowItAll mass spectrometry software can also be found on my personal website. There are three ways to send structures from Nist Search to KnowItAll ChemWindow. The first and most easiest is copy structure to clipboard function in Nist Search and paste special in ChemWindow. The second would be to change the default app setup within Microsoft Windows to use ChemWindow as the default. And the last would be to create an auto-imp type text file within the Nist 20 Search MS Search folder. I now have opened the Nist Search program, and if you find any entry that you want that has a structure, will go down to the hit list from a search. I'm going to pick this 87th entry in the hit list. It's actually a Wiley spectrum, and you can see its structure in the pane to the right. You right-click on it, and you say not copy, but a special place to put it in a special Windows clipboard to say copy structure. So I do that. Now I've got the structure in the clipboard, and I can take it over to KnowItAll. I now have opened ChemWindow within the KnowItAll software. If you don't know where that is, you go up to Basics, and you'll pick ChemWindow. And I need to create a new area for this. I'll open up a new file. So I'll go up to the top, say File, New, Structure Document. Okay. You'll notice it's opened up a blank one and it put another tab on the bottom so I can keep my other structures that I already had open in the program. And I'll come back up to the top and say Edit. You'll notice that the paste is grayed out. You can't paste it this way. You have to go to the Paste Special and come down to a mole text because it's a mole file. And we now have our structure in ChemWindow. The second approach requires changing which program within Microsoft Windows is used to open the .mol files. To do that, you have to go down to the Start menu and type in DEFAULT APPS. You'll see an item called Default Apps. It'll open up what you want. You have to go enter the file format, the file of interest for the extension .mol. And you can see it's already defined as KnowItAll in my system, but if you didn't, you'd have to go find the program. You might have to do more apps. You might have to look down through some other options, finally come down to look for another app on this PC. But I've already done it, so it knows that the two that I would likely choose are knowitall.exe, which is ChemWindow, or some other program such as ACD. So it's already set up. So we've got that correct. So now I've gone back to the Nist program, and let's pick another Wiley structure to send over. We can see this structure in the pane over to the right. So I'll right-click as before, but this time I'll go Send To, and we'll go to the default structure editor. And that'll be the one that I defined for the system to use for processing .mol files. And it automatically knows where to send it, so there's no cutting and pasting, just a Send To command. The third approach is one that was developed by Nist itself. You go up to find on your PC in Windows, there should be the Nist 20 program and the MS Search folder. And you might or might not, more likely will not, find this file on your system, but the Nist manual tells you how to do it, and I'll explain it here and also in the handout. But what we need to do, I've already created it on mine, so I'll just show you the file. I'm looking for autoimp.str. Let's open that file, and we'll say open with Notepad. It's an ASCII file, so we can open it up. So what do we see when we get there? We can see there are two programs defined for opening structures. One is called Chem Window, and this part of the command determines what's shown in your window, and this is the exact path to the executable, which is knowitall.exe, and the %1 means that it'll be a mole file format, and all of these have to be within quotes. And you see I've also defined one for ChemSketch in the same manner. If I was editing that file, I would need to have the Nist search program closed and then go open it again because it needs to find that program after I've made changes in it. So I've had it closed, I'll reopen Nist search. So take a second to open the program, make it full size window. And now let's go pick yet another Wiley spectrum, W1. Right here you can see the structure here. This time we'll right click again on it and say send to, and now you have choices. I could either send it to Chem Window or I could send it to ChemSketch. So let's just send it to Chem Window, and you see it's there. Well, now let's send one in the opposite direction. We'll send it from Chem Window to the Nist search program. So I've got a structure on the screen. I'll go up, get the arrow key and select it. And now I just have to say edit, copy. It's going to copy into the Windows clipboard, which I have it now. I'll go to the Nist program, switch to it. Let's put it up in the top where we can search it. This is the search list, the working list from the Nist program, and I'll right click and I will say insert clipboard structure. It'll come in and show me the structure, and I could change the comment if I wanted to and just say OK. If you go to the top now, you'll see clipboard 1 is what I named it, and here is our structure. There are a couple small problems with transferring structures from Chem Window to the Nist search, and I'll demonstrate it with this example. So I'll go open up a new working space. At the top here, say structure document, left click, say OK. Let's bring in benzene in this aromatic form as opposed to one with alternating double bonds. Let's select the one with the alternating double bonds and select it. Now you can say edit, copy. There also is this copy as command, but I decided after playing with the parameters a little bit, it's probably best to just use the copy to put it in the Windows clipboard by selecting copy. Now I come over and open, bring the Nist back into focus, and we'll right click, not left click, but right click, and say insert clipboard structures the best way. You can paste it, but then it does some strange things if something else is in the clipboard. So it's better to say insert clipboard structure. But you'll notice two things here. It brought in both structures, and that's one point, is if you have more than one structure open in the Chem window, drawn in the Chem window, it will bring both of them. And if you bring one that has the circle in the middle to show aromaticity, it will bring it over as cyclohexane. So be sure to have one structure in the window that you want to send to Nist, and be sure to use the aromatic form where you have the alternating double bonds, and say OK. You can see here it didn't give us what I want, but if you'll pay attention to those two details, everything should work fine. This is a somewhat more advanced topic, but a very useful one. One can use Nist MS Interpreter to determine fragmentation in EI spectra. And to do that, you must send the spectrum of the proposed unknown to the Nist search, which we've shown before in another video. But then you send the spectrum from the Nist search list to the MS Interpreter program. And then you paste in the proposed structure from Chem window, and all ions in black show proposed substructure for ions observed and their isotope ratios. Here we have our spectrum in KnowItAll, in particular in the Search It program. And as before, as I showed you in another video, we go up to the Edit and say Transfer to Nist MS Search. It'll put it in the working window of the Nist search. And now we right-click on it and say Send to. We'll transfer it to MS Interpreter. As you can see, this is the structure area of the program, but we don't have a structure there yet. So we need to go back to get our proposed structure that we want to determine the fragmentation pattern. So we'll go back to KnowItAll. We'll go back to the basics over here on the side, function, to get our Chem window open. And I've drawn the structure that I think it might be here. And so what we'll do is say Edit, select it first, and say Edit, Copy. And then we'll go back to the Nist program, and in particular the MS Interpreter window that we had open. We'll left click in this box and come up and say Edit, Paste. And it'll paste the structure in. You've noticed all the ions have gone from white to black, except for a few. And that indicates that the program thinks it knows what the substructure is for these ions. So, for instance, we'll go to the 263 ion. It thinks that it fragmented here. Anything that's in red, that's what it thinks that part of the molecule is. And it's lost this part of the molecule, the part in black. You can see some information about the ion in the top bar here. You can also see that when it drew that, it drew little yellow lines across the top of the peak. That's what it thinks the theoretical isotope ratio would be for that ion, and they match very well. You can jump to the next one. This is where at 220, this is where it cracks the ring, and etc. You can just keep stepping through these, and it'll tell you about the parts of the molecule. Sometimes it'll even have more than one suggested structure for that ion. Anything that is in white, it does not know what it is. So this is somewhat complicated, and I have a Nist tutorial video if you want to learn more about MS Interpreter, and I'll mention more about that in the handout. So in conclusion, you can see it's very easy to send structures from the Nist search program to KnowItAll in Chem window. There are 3 different methods that can be employed to do that. Structures can be sent from Chem window to Nist search, but there are some minor limitations in aromatic ring structures. But in another more advanced topic, structures can be pasted with a spectrum to the Nist MS Interpreter to aid in fragmentation interpretation. Be sure to see my other videos for Mass Spec KnowItAll training that are found on my personal website. Good day.